Alright, so I started this video. Initially I had the entire piece from sketching going all the way up to coloring. However, afterwards I realized that the sketch wasn't that clear. My lighting was off. But I didn't want to just disregard it completely, so instead I am showing the sketching part of this process, but sped up several times faster than the speed that you will see later on in the video. Anyway, what I'm drawing right now is a character from my original sci-fi multiple POV series called Stage Controller, part 1 of the 11 Keys series, which is part of a broad franchise. But anyway, the character that I'm drawing is called Kimika Kubo. She is the main character of the first story arc of the book. The book is split into 6 parts, by the way. So she is the POV of part 1. Most of those 11 chapters, if not all of them, are about her story. She is 16 years old. Really, I'm trying to avoid spoiling too much from the story itself, but this video, it's a lot. I would recommend just reading the book first, if it or at least check out the description on Amazon, see if it's something that you would want to read, and then get back to this video, because I may be dropping some minor or even major spoilers here. But anyway, we are right now we're done with the sketching part, as you can see, and I'm going into the inking process now. So the pose that she's in, this is one of the modes. This is not her base form. Basically, this is one of her transformed states, really. So she is doing I'm drawing her in a pose where she's off the ground a bit, either jumping or landing or whatever. She has her left leg out, her right leg up, and the tools that I use just a regular pencil to get the sketch, and right now I'm using a regular pen. I think that would be called a ballpoint pen or whatever, but it's a regular pen. It's a really cheap product, I think, anywhere in the world. I think it's almost safe to make that assumption. So as you can see, I am going over. You can't make it out that well in the video in terms of my inking technique, but I do go over the lines more than once. If it was a gel ink pen or a marker, I could have just draw the lines once and go over it one more time just for the detail. But here I pretty much ink it similarly. I inked it similarly to how I would sketch it. And so she has 2 guns up. She is a dual pistol user, gun user basically. I think Kimika is one of my most unique character designs. As you can see, look at her tail. She has those twin tails, and when I actually there's an advice that is out surrounding characters that you want them to have distinct silhouettes. Like from you see their shadow, there's something about their appearance that stands out a lot. And I actually had this done for Kimika before I even knew about this. I didn't learn about that until about at this point maybe 1 or 2 years ago, and I came up with Kimika in like 2012, and at the time of recording this video, that is almost, at this point I would say almost 11 years, almost exactly. I think I came up with her design about 2012 this summer maybe, but it's around 11 years either way. Okay, so after I've completed the inking process, I focused on the darker areas and the lighter areas as well. I'm using Shuttle Art alcoholic marker, but I think the strategy is similar for most, if not all, other alcoholic markers. You can decide if you want to go with like from dark to light or light to dark, or whatever. Sometimes rather than using a darker color or a lighter color, and this is something that I haven't seen any art channels give this advice, but I think it's worth saying. You don't necessarily have to go with a darker colored marker and a lighter colored marker on every time. You could just use the same color, and then for the lighter areas you only apply the color once, barely applying it there. For the darker areas you go over it multiple times, and then for the flat color, the base of the entire design, you just apply that evenly throughout, and that would give you a good enough look, really. So that is something that I would recommend doing. The canvas in this video is it's almost, I guess you can say it's a cardboard. It's a brown, it's thicker than cartridge paper, but it is a bit thinner than the regular cardboard that you see that makes cardboard boxes and so on. So it's somewhere in the middle. I decided to make use of them because it's one of the few things that I actually have in abundance without having to spend a lot of money on. Well, anyway, as you can see on the screen, we are using, the color scheme for this one is purple, yellow, and green. So very dark purple, her hair is purple, her lips purple, and the other parts that you're seeing there, and of course yellow for the hair puffs or hair buns, whatever you want to call them, at the top of her head, and yeah, her skin is a shade of green. Yep. Okay, so we are, and one thing is, you should try to, when you're using alcoholic markers, my advice would be that you should try to color quickly, but don't color. If you're not familiar with them, I would suggest that you practice first. Practice on just rough sketches, thumbnails or whatever, and then take it from there. But what I wanted to say was that don't try to go fast if you're not familiar with it and then mess up your whole design. It's probably better to go a bit slower first, but the more you use them, the better you'll get at them. I haven't even had these for a year as yet at the time of recording this video. It is currently April in 2023. So yeah, anyway, we are almost at the very end of this piece right now. I am happy with it. This is, I've been drawing Kimika a lot lately, coloring her a lot, and I honestly believe that this is the closest thing to what I have in mind of how she should look, how she how she was described in the book, and there's only so much you can do with written descriptions, right? This is the power of visual media, right? This is why they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? because you could read that 110,000 word book, or chemical section, which is about 50,000. Was it 50 or 30? I think it was 30 something thousand words for chemicals arc of the story, the longest out of all the 6. You could read that and you still probably wouldn't get that this is how she should look, at least in the transformed state. But here I could just draw it. And if you can't draw, you could probably just hire an artist to get your character design done. But anyway, yeah, this was not a tutorial. This is just me drawing and explaining what is going on in what you're seeing, and we're at an end. As you can see, I'm going over when you apply the colors. Another good tip is to go over them to ensure that you don't have patches or smudges. You don't have uneven textures on your design. She's still not 100% done. I will probably save that for way down in the series. This is just the first character design of the Dropout art characters of the Stage Controller novel. We got 5 more in this section to go, and then of course the other arcs to get to. I hope you enjoyed this video. Peace.